daun-daun, bili-bili mo kasta hindi ka pasok, ganito ka to.
This is Jimmy T with Laughing Parrot Productions and Sierra Wave. Today, we're honored to talk to Mike Patterson, the head mother in charge of Sierra LifeFlight.
Regional director.
Regional director.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Glad to have you.
How long have you been here?
I've been here for 29 years.
Do you think you'll stay?
I think I will. I think I like it.
So tell us about Sierra LifeFlight. I understand it's actually two different businesses, umbrellas.
Correct. So Sierra LifeFlight started back in 1993, and we started as just an air ambulance operation. Was started by two gentlemen, and later on, just one gentleman was still involved. We lost one, but the air ambulance is where we started. Started with a couple different airplanes, and we gradually grew the business to the point where we had 2 airplanes operating every day. And these airplanes do primarily inter-facility transfer. So anybody that gets sick, ill, injured, here in the Owens Valley, Mammoth, Lone Pine, that needs to be taken to a higher level of care, we come out, pick them up, and provide critical care services from either any of these facilities to an advanced care facility, tertiary type facility that we can get them to.
Now, do you cover the county, or just what is your area of coverage for departures?
Our coverage area is pretty much the state of California and the state of Nevada. So we can be called out to any area at any point. It just depends on needs. We have a pretty big network of air ambulances out there, so we have different ones across the whole area. We have, as an example, one in Ely, one in Elko, excuse me, a couple in Reno, McClellan in Sacramento, Redding, and then up in Northern California, we have our sister company, Sierra LifeFlight, and they operate 6 airplanes up there as well.
So how many aircraft do you operate here?
We operate 2 out of the Bishop Airport here.
How many crews does that require?
Every day we have 2 crews on, which consists of a pilot, nurse, and paramedic.
And then how many crews do you have? How do they rotate out?
They rotate out, and we have a series of rotations that has 4 different teams on throughout the month.
Okay. And most of them, do they live here or they come to visit?
About 50-50. So we have quite a few people that commute in to work here. And then we have about half the people that live here locally that work for us.
And you do a great job, because a lot of my acquaintances, they've been flown out recently. So
I'm sorry.
They've never complained. Yeah. It's kind of a mixed blessing. I'm sad they're sick, but I'm glad y'all took care of them. Now tell me about the ground side. Are you operating on contract, or how does that work for air ambulance?
So the air ambulance is independent. There's no contracts. It's really unregulated by state EMS. It falls as an airline under the Airline Deregulation Act. So a lot of the rules that apply to ground ambulance don't apply to air ambulance, because it's more federally regulated.
Okay. Now tell me about the ground ambulances. Tell me about that. Are you on contract for that?
Yes. So last July, the county came to us when they're having some problems with the local provider, and asked us if we would come in and put our hat in the ring to help out the county and provide ambulance services in the Bishop area. So we agreed to do so. We took that on. Each day we operate a paramedic ambulance and an EMT basic ambulance with 1 crew member. That crew member does primarily airport transfers, and then they can respond to 911 calls when the other ambulance is busy. We also operate what we call a fly truck, or a quick response vehicle. That vehicle has a paramedic on it usually that can respond with that EMT and provide life-saving care as soon as they can get there. So it's a great service that we provide. It's saved many lives so far.
So how many ground ambulances are you operating on a daily basis?
2.
2. Okay. And how many are there total?
We have 5.
Okay. Now you said you're under contract. Is this a regular contract, or is this
It's an emergency contract that we signed with the county, and it will expire at the end of the year. Right now the county's working on a request for proposal to put in a more long-term plan that will last 10 years. It's got to be approved by the state. So a lot of hurdles they're jumping through right now to get that process going, but we expect soon here we'll see that RFP come down to us and we'll put in a bid for it.
Now, what about funding for a ground ambulance? How does that work? Are you reimbursed at a regular rate of this? It costs us this much to operate, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's funding's very difficult in the ground ambulance arena, and that's primarily driven by low reimbursement, and over time there really hasn't been a whole lot looked at in reimbursement when it comes to ground ambulance. Rates really haven't changed since 1995. So that's why it's so difficult to make it in the ground ambulance business. And we've seen so much turmoil, is that these ground ambulances are just trying to do the best they can to make it work. Now, in areas that are busier, you can offset and be able to pick up enough calls to make the ambulances profitable. But in areas like this, the call volume is so low that it's nearly impossible to make it sustainable on its own.
So the air ambulance, does that operate under federal control-ish?
Under
Federal control, or is that
as far as reimbursements or as far as operational concerns?
Reimbursements?
As far as reimbursements go, there's really no federal tie into it. It's just we do the transport and we bill whatever insurance they have.
Now, what about ground transport? Who pays for that?
It's the same concept. It's just a lot of reimbursement on both air and ground is dictated by the federal government. They set up a lot of the rules. The CMS department of the federal government sets up a lot of the rules that all the insurers have to follow. And so we work with those rules to make it all work.
So it's also a question of if you don't have enough volume, you just can't bill enough to make operations make.
No, if you're running short and you think that, we're just not going to make it if we bill this amount, you can't just increase it. It just doesn't work like that. It's got to be, the federal government approves exactly what they're going to pay for Medicaid and Medicare, and we bill, but a lot of that gets discounted out according to what the feds are going to pay.
Yes, you can charge this much, but we're going to
pay this. Yeah.
So how do you make the gap? And that you've got to pay for it. How do you fill the gap between how much received and how much you spend?
It's the biggest concern is on the ground side, mainly because the volume is just not there. On the air side, it's a business and it's at risk. So we have these airplanes here. They have to stay busy, or else we wouldn't be able to keep them here. And we keep them very, very busy. We're one of the busiest bases around.
But what about the ground ambulances? Now, how do you pay for that gap?
The county subsidizes us. So we do receive a county subsidy at this point in time under this emergency contract. So when this comes back out for bid, the RFP will have to build into that, what our plan is and what costs are, and show the county what our need is.
Now, the personnel that you're using, are most of them paid, or are they volunteers?
Everybody's paid.
Everybody's paid.
Yeah, we can't have volunteers. We're a private business. So, if the fire departments, they wanted to take it on, they could take on volunteers and make it work like that. But we just can't do it that way.
Are you seeing an aging of your workforce? Are they getting any new people in, or young people in, or is it?
It's mostly young people that come into this industry. A lot of the EMTs and paramedics that come around, they want to be firefighters or law enforcement, something that's similar to what we're doing here. And this is just an avenue for them to get their feet wet, kind of learn about emergencies, how to deal with them, and get out there and actually deal with them.
Is there anything I haven't asked you that I should ask you?
Not that I can think of.
Mike Patterson, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to talk to you always.
Pleasure having you.
Jimmy T with Ion Inyo Emergency Services. This is amazing Mike Patterson, and he's got a crew against the wall. I'll talk to you in a few. Hello, this is Jimmy T with Eye on Forever Humans. Today we have Storm and Lindsay Stein. Welcome, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Tell me about Storm.
So Storm here is 2 years old. He is an owner release, and he is a husky, as you can see. And he is just a playful, handsome little fella.
he was mellow before the camera turned on. I mean,
Yeah. Now he's really showing everybody he's excited.
Yes. Say so. Stuff. So tell me the good things about having a husky.
So some of the good things is that they're very loyal and they have a lot of good energy. And now that it's cooling down a little bit, they make a perfect companion for taking out in the cool weather.
And turning the temperature down and
Yeah.
3 Dog Night reference there. And how long has Husky? How long has Storm been at the shelter?
For about a couple days now. It's not super long. He's one of the new guys in town.
And hopefully he won't stay there long because this is a wonderful husky. Do you think he's pure husky?
Yeah, he appears to be that way. And I mean, as you can tell, he's a pretty decent sized dog. So being 2 years old, he's pretty much almost fully grown. Got some pretty large paws, but very playful, very nice. Gets along good with everyone. He's leash trained.
And most huskies are great with children.
Yes.
So tell me about the rest of the shelter. How many other?
So currently in the shelter right now, we have 26 dogs, 17 cats, and 25 of those additional cats in foster care. So we're definitely still pretty busy. We're pretty full still. And just a reminder that everybody should be getting their animals spayed and neutered because that definitely helps keep the shelter from overcrowding. And the shelter is open Tuesday through Friday, and that is from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 4.
And my personal favorite, how is Binks, Misty, and Stormy?
Doing good.
How are they?
Doing good.
They haven't gone home yet?
I haven't heard that they've been adopted out, so they are still there, and they are still available for anybody interested in adopting them.
If you look at last week's episode, you'll see the amazing Binks, Stormy, and Misty. Binks didn't know what to think of me. He was just, what are you? But, so this is Storm, 2 years old. He's ready for adoption right now. Storm, right?
Yes, Storm.
And this is the amazing Lindsay Stein. And what was the number for your?
It's 760-938-2715. Give the shelter a call for any questions or any updates on any of the animals, or if you just want to come up and hang out and maybe walk a few dogs, they're definitely up there waiting for you.
Awesome. Thank you for bringing in Storm. What an amazing young boy.
Yep. Well,
Okay. This is Jimmy T with Eye on Forever Humans. Here's one for y'all. This is Storm. Okay, see you next week. Hey. Hello, this is Jimmy T with Eye on Inyo. Today we're honored to have Superintendent Katie Kolker, Bishop Union School District. Is that right?
Bishop Unified School District. Yeah.
And she's here to give us some information about something that's happening all over the city. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So tell us what's coming up.
Well, our school district has a couple of school facility improvement bonds coming up on the November election ballot. And so I wanted to share a little bit about what Measures R and Measure S are.
Okay, so Measure S is the first bond. And so tell us, what does R do?
Sure. So there's R and S for a reason. So Measure R would support the middle and the high school school facility improvements. And Measure S would be the elementary school. Now, the reason there's two, because it is a little confusing.
Yeah.
We have a neighborhood in our area called Round Valley. And Round Valley residents typically attend Round Valley Elementary School. And so we wanted to be sure to not tax or include a group of folks that aren't Bishop Elementary's home school district residents. And so those households, that area, is excluded from Measure S. So Measure S is just Bishop Elementary School. However, because they do matriculate into the middle and high school, that Round Valley area is included in the district-wide measure, which is Measure R.
Because I've seen that movie before. We're going to tax you even though the school is nowhere near you.
Yeah, we wanted to avoid that.
Yeah.
We thought it was the fair thing to do.
So tell us about R. What does R improve?
Sure. So our facilities across the district are well over 50 years old. Our Home Street Middle School is about 70 years old, and the main building at the high school is over 100 years old. So with that come deteriorating infrastructures. We haven't had an improvement bond in our community ever. We had a couple of new construction bonds for a couple of new buildings and solar panels in the early 2000s. However, we've never had an overhaul improvement bond before. So these facilities are beginning to show their age. Roofs are wearing down, HVAC systems are failing, carpets are in need of repair, ceilings have water stains from the leaks. Things like roads, access ways, sidewalks have a lot of root upheaval. Plumbing is beginning to corrode. Sewer systems are being impacted. So these are the sorts of the things that we're seeing across campus. And not only is it costly to continue to improve these things, but it's timely, and it's taking all of our local resources in our small little district and putting them into repairing some really old things.
Sometimes objects reach a point where it's cheaper to buy a new one than to continue to repair it.
I feel like we're at this juncture.
I think we've reached that juncture. And so now, when does the bond come out, and what is the time frame for implementing these improvements?
Sure. So if passed on the November 5th election, we would begin projects as soon as possible, ideally within the first 6 months, and likely begin to tackle all the projects we want to take on between 1 and 6 years. The payback for the bonds is estimated to be about 25 years.
Pretty normal.
Pretty typical.
And so when in R, what are you going to do to fix things? What is the big fix?
So the big fix with Measure R is the main high school building, our historic building. It's beloved by our community. We actually polled our community last spring and asked, what would your priority be for the main building? Would it be to continue use with students, use it for administrative purposes, or tear it down altogether and build something new? Overwhelmingly, our community said, continue to use it. We want students in that building using classrooms and graduating from Bishop High on the front steps. So it's a beloved building, but the infrastructure in it is over 100 years old. So original plumbing, original electrical. You got to hand it to our maintenance crew for doing their best over the last couple generations, but at some point it is destined to fail. And I don't want our district to be in an emergency situation where we have to evacuate a space that we really hold dear. That's the majority of what Measure R is all about. About 70% of the cost that's with Measure R would support continued use of that main high school building.
That's great. Now, what about the other 30%?
That would go to roofs, HVAC, carpets, ceilings, sidewalks, all the things to keep a school up and running. Nothing fancy. Ideally, we have built in an improved athletic track and lighting for our fields. We don't have LED lighting yet.
No.
We really should.
It's a long-term project, and I don't know if you've ever seen the track over there. There's kind of ruts in it when it rains, and it makes it very exciting to run across those. And
yeah, we just hosted Juneau, Alaska a couple weeks ago, and there's this big windstorm that day, and you could see these little mini dust devils rolling up along the track during the football game, and so we could address that.
Would that be a synthetic turf, or would it be?
That would be a synthetic turf.
Those are great.
So the classroom projects would obviously be the priority, but built into this measure would be addressing the turf on the track.
Now, okay. Tell us about Proposition S, please.
So Measure S is dedicated for the elementary school. Similar projects, roofs, flooring, plumbing, new HVAC systems. Currently right now, our HVAC systems across campuses are about 35 years old, so they are failing, and finding parts for them is increasingly hard. So not only are they not terribly efficient anymore, it's very difficult to get the parts needed to repair them so that classrooms are a comfortable temperature.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us before we round up this amazing session?
Maybe just a little bit about the price points.
Okay.
I'm sure that's top of mind. We don't want to ask our community for more than we need. We did a needs assessment back in the winter from an independent consulting firm. Our needs assessment came out over $80 million of need across the district. That seemed to be more than we wanted to take on. So we got it down to Measure R at $42 million and Measure S around 14. And what that looks like for maybe an average taxpayer, if you were to have a home assessed value of $250,000, let's say, that would be about $11 a month for Measure R and $4 a month for Measure S. So for a household, again, at that $250,000 assessed value price point, under both measures, that would be up to $180 per year to support our schools. There's a lot more to all of it. Hopefully this gave a broad overview. We have a variety of pictures available. And I guess one final financial point is if we were to pass the bonds, we could be eligible for state matching funding we wouldn't otherwise get. So there is an opportunity in the state for 60-40 matching funding, where if a district shows that they have 40%, the state will match 60%. And for us, that means up to $12.6 million of state funding that we could receive for these projects, as long as we can show that we had the $8.4 million required for the 40% of the 60-40.
That's great. Because always manage your money. And if you can get some money attached to your money, it's always a good thing.
We will be able to do more with that state matching funding.
Are these pictures available to see?
Yep, everything's available on our website, bishopschools.org. Right on the homepage there's a Measure R and S link that folks can click and learn more.
And if they had other questions, do you have an email address to send questions to?
kkolker@bishopschools.org.
It's kkolker@bishopschools.org. Measure R and S will fund improvements to Bishop High School, Middle School, and Bishop Elementary.
That's right.
And is that right?
That's right.
And if you've been over there, you know that they need some repair. And
it's time.
It's time. It's time. Katie Kolker, I appreciate your coming very much.
Thank you, Jimmy.
This is Jimmy T with Eye on Inyo Education.
Hi, my name is Lynette McIntosh, and I'm here to talk to the public and to the voters of Bishop, California about an event that's coming up on the 26th of September. It's on a Thursday night. We're having a meet and greet for our potential school board members. It's a candidates night, and this will be held at Whiskey Creek starting at 6:30 at night and in the banquet room. And it's open for everyone to come and hear from our school board candidates. We love to provide a format for the school board members to share their views and their platforms on why they're running and what they can do for our local schools. So all four candidates will be there. They will be introducing themselves, and we will ask them some formatted questions ahead of time that they can work on and give us information on what they can do for our Bishop School District. And this is my friend Jennifer Bodine.
Yeah, we just want everybody to come so you can ask questions to the candidates. And I believe it's more personal setting because you can personally meet them, ask them whatever questions you like, and make your, vote and opinion matter.
Mm-hmm. And again, this event is on Thursday night, September the 26th, at the Whiskey Creek in the banquet room. This will not be a food event. You will need to eat ahead of time. If you're hungry, go ahead and have dinner there and then come into the banquet room where our program will begin. And we will be there till approximately 8 o'clock. And after our formatted part of the program, you will get to meet and ask one-on-one questions of your school board members. Because I know that the public, as a parent, you're a parent, you have how many kids in the school district now?
I have 4 currently.
4 currently.
My oldest is 21 now, so he graduated a couple of years ago. And I think parents are just super good advocates for even scheduling events and things like that, the involvement. I think parents getting involved at the school board, because the school board meetings seem like it's really hard to kind of get parents involved and go to school board meetings. And I think parents being involved in this is just an amazing opportunity and amazing advocates for our schools. So getting parents on board and let's go to meetings. Let's talk about these things. And
Jennifer's been a really dedicated parent to come to the school board meetings and to voice her opinion. Having 3 to 4 kids in our school district at a time, she has lots of concerns, and she's been to school board meetings that lasted 6 hours. And Free Eastside is a group that started back in 2020 when we were all on a lockdown and our kids were doing at-home learning. And our first meeting was based on trying to get our kids back in school without a mask. And so we started there, and we've done different events. But what we have made our primary goal at this point is working towards getting candidates elected into different positions in our county, making a difference in our local politics and our local, like we helped with a supervisor's election, got 2 new supervisors elected. Now this time, and school board members. So we've worked with elections, with campaigning and helping candidates get their message out, get their yard signs out. And so this time we had this is our 3rd meet and greet that we've had. This time we're focusing on the school board members, and we want the school board member candidates to really get to know the public and get to know the voters and hear from the voters after they give their format and answer the questions that we will have sent them ahead of time.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that Free Eastside has just done amazing for our community with small business support and local support of parents, people that have any concerns about things like that. They can always come to us and talk about it. And and what we started 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
And I think that our mission is kind of sticking to the Constitution and just keeping that real. And because sometimes we feel the Constitution may get a little confusing at times, but getting it out there for the people to just kind of better understand that.
And we have really focused in the last several years on what's going on in our local schools. And that's why school board candidates are so important to us, that there's some changes that need to be made in our own local schools. And most parents are not aware of what's going on. They think everything is okay, but if you really
something
dig deep,
happens.
till something happens, and then you have a big meeting. We had a 6-hour meeting, and a handful of parents, very few parents came. So we want awareness to our parents of what's going on in our local school. I'm a grandma. My kids all went to school here, and I have grandkids and great-grandkids in our local school district. So I want to make it better for them. I don't have my own child, but I have 8 grandkids that have gone to school here, and some of them are still in school, and you have some in school.
Yeah.
And Jennifer's had a lot of struggles with the school. So that's why we are so focused on getting school board members elected this November. So we just really invite all of the public to come to our event on September 26th, our meet and greet. And again, it is at Whiskey Creek, 6:30 in the banquet room. And it is open for all the public to enjoy. And we really encourage you to come and be part of it. It's not a club meeting. Our entire group is volunteers. We don't have club fees. We just get together once a month, and we usually have some sort of a project or a mission that we're working on, and especially during an election cycle. So
be there or be square.
That's right. Bring a friend. Bring your questions.
From the director of Toy Story 4.
Awesome!
Experience Transformers like never before.
Yes! Whoa! I got a battle mask!
I can see that.
Alita! Battle mask!
So that's new.
Let's have a look, shall we? Yay. This one's from the heart. Hey! I love a good dance sequence.